you grab some information from what he's giving you. Tell us all about your sales, how you get there, what you do every day. So he's a beast. If you guys haven't checked him out yet. So, Mr. Jeffrey,
thank you.
it's all yours.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's an honor. All right, round of applause for the host for today. And truly excited to be here and excited to be in the setting where she said it's very chill, very relaxed. So it's very family style, right?
Yes.
So don't be afraid to throw your questions out there. Don't be afraid to cut me in the middle of the presentation. Don't be afraid to look puzzled as well. So a little bit about me. I've been doing real estate for about 16 years. And what got me into real estate was a great friend of mine was already in the business. And he said, you needed to get into real estate. But I always wanted to be an attorney. So I have an undergrad in legal studies from Nova Southern University with an ambition to always become an attorney. But then I just saw my friend living this lifestyle and I was like, man, I could do this too, you know? But we didn't know that real estate wasn't just closings, nice houses, and everything else that they portray it to be, right? So ended up going to work and I decided to leave corporate America and become a full-time real estate professional. And I remember one of my great friends telling me, what am I gonna do for income? Because I didn't transition. I literally just quit my job. My office manager at that time had told me the best way to be successful is to go full-time. Any part-time people in here today? Nice. Most of us, beautiful, beautiful. Cool. So I was once part-time and I said, man, for me to get to the next level, I got to go full-time. So I walked into my job. I said, hey, I'm out of here. And they were kind of a little disappointed in me. So they said, you could leave right now. And I said, well, that's not really protocol. So that's another story for another day. And then I decided to say, man, I'm going to do rentals every single day until it all works out because I'm going to figure it out, right? Figure it out. But the good Lord had another plan for me, and I dominated in the space that I was in. That month that year, I was the number one agent in units. And I decided to say, man, if I can do this here, I got to go to another company or another office where they're doing it at a different level so I can raise my price point and really be around people that are really doing it so I can do it at a different level. So I decided to stay top 3 in the office for many, many years before I joined the company that I'm with right now. I'm excited to be there. But really what my story was is that a lot of people sometimes believe that you got to start with rentals, you got to start with buyers, but I've always been in the space of listings. So right now I hold maybe 24 active listings. I have 11 pending in listings, and I've closed $12 million in production already this year. Round of applause for that, right? So you can say that, hey, are the listings at low price points? Are they at high price points? You could say, are they at medium price points? Some of my listings are 100,000, some of them are 7 million, some of them are 4 million, some of them are 3 million. Then you have your standard everyday $500,000, $400,000. And I don't believe that sometimes people say, how do you cater to your luxury people different than your other people? And I said, it's not really anything. I said, honestly, my $7 million seller, probably I could hang out with him, I could kick it, and we could probably never talk about the house. But what you have to understand, it's a mindset thing. And it's not the mindset thing with them, it's the mindset thing with us. We have to believe that we're confident in the space that we're in. We have to believe that we have the knowledge, and then we have to understand that we are the authority figure in that space. I once did a conversation with someone, and I stated that part-time agents are probably better real estate professionals than full-time agents. Does anyone agree with me or disagree? Got it. So why do I say that? I say that because a part-time agent that really wants to get to the pivot, a part-time agent that really wants to quit their job, a part-time agent that really wants to make this full-time, they're going to go all in and all out. They're going to use their weekends. They're going to use their nights. They're going to use their holidays. They're going to use their vacations. They're going to figure it out. Versus the full-time agent, we kind of wake up when we want to wake up. We kind of get to the office when we want to get to the office. We kind of do what we want to do when we want to do it. And then we don't understand why statistics actually proves that part-time agents do successfully well or even better than the average full-time agent. Y'all saw the stats last year. The average agent sold anywhere between 1 to 7 homes, right? Just last year. You agree?
I was a part-time agent and I had 15 or 14 closings just last year.
Come on.
2 years.
Exactly. Are you still part-time?
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So for those of you guys that are part-time, don't think that, man, because I'm part-time, I can't do as well as a full-time agent. Because I'm part-time, I can't kill it in the space where a full-time agent can. But in the space that I decided to truly just dominate It was about 2017, 2018, and I said that I was just done like working with buyers, and I'm gonna really dominate in the space of listings. So right now I'm so excited that I run a coaching program called the Real Estate Method. And what we do is we have over 100 students right now in our program where we coach them on how to successfully work with sellers. You know, just this week alone, one of our agents was able to close a listing at $230,000. Another agent of ours was able to close a deal at $530,000. And another agent of ours was able to close a deal at $1.4 million. Okay? And how do we do that? We truly do that through prospecting. We truly do that through buyers, for sale by owners, expireds, circle prospecting, just listed, just sold opportunities, and vacant opportunities as well. Okay. We truly have a tight schedule that shows us how to pound the phones. We operate through scripts that are not like old school type of scripts. They're realistic scripts, you know, like for example, I'm getting on the phone with you and I'm saying, hey, your house needs to be sold. I want to sell it. Are we meeting today or not? What's going on? And that's really how the script really goes, you know? So a lot of times people always tells me, what's the script? And I said, the script is yourself. The script is truly yourself. You want to be your true authentic self. Okay. People want to collaborate. People want to work with the people that they trust. You know, your sheep knows your voice. We've heard that before, right? So I tell people, try to not really focus on a script, but focus on building relationships. Focus on building relationships around the buyer, the seller, the expired, the for sale by owner, the investor, the absentee owner, the tenant, or whomever that is that needs your services. They need us more than we need them. And once we start to believe that, once we start to understand that, once we start to walk in that space, like that's what they need, they start to feel that. It's an energy. And we know energy can't be destroyed, it can only be moved from one space to another, right? So that's really how we operate through the space of dominating in the listing space. So what I want to show you guys is these next 28 slides on how to truly, how to truly dominate in the space of listings. So the power of listings, why listings control the market. You earn higher. Like for example, I have probably 4 or 5 open houses happening right now on my listings. And where am I? 100, 200 miles away. Okay? Because I've created an opportunity where other agents can build their names. They continue to get other listings. They can probably get some buyer leads out there and they can sell my listings by hosting open houses. So, and then listings attract more business. How do listings attract more business? Because of the opportunity of double dipping. I've been able to double dip maybe 40 something transactions as of right now, and I've been able to double dip on maybe 3, 4, 5 of them, maybe. You know, and that's just through open house opportunities. That's just through people calling me off the internet. That's just through people walking in on the coming soon opportunities that we do as well. So I believe that listings is the game. Any heavy listing agents in here today? Okay.
I want to be a heavy listener.
Okay.
Does the majority?
Who's Barbara? Barbara?
But you just made a point, you said something about you get people to buy your listings, your agents. What did you mean by that?
Why, how do I get people to buy my listings?
You said when you have your agents to.
They host open houses. They host the open houses. So I collaborate with people, whether they're with my company or not. I collaborate with people, people that are probably new to the field, people that probably want to break into the inventory or the area that I happen to be in, or people that just see that I have a great product and they want to stamp their name onto it. So I don't really care about anyone hosting my listings open. I think it's a way to free me to do other things like be here, for example, but it's also a way to give other people exposure as well. And then lastly, it helps the seller to know that, hey, we're doing everything from our A to Z list, which we'll talk about today, to truly get your home sold. So Barbara, you're a heavy listing agent. Got it. And then the rest of you guys are what? More buyers, renters, investors, whatever comes your way. Got it. And how do you like? How you guys like that? I think it works out great because y'all here on a Saturday afternoon. Nice. You learn the inventory. Got it. Y'all using the new buyers contracts and stuff like that. Y'all making sure y'all get them into beautiful.
So the majority of the room, I think, is 3 years or less, right? Besides myself, Jackie, who else? Everybody's brand new. Laquita's not. So it's about 3 of us that's been in the business.
3 years. Okay, cool.
Everybody else are brand new agents.
Got it. How would you let's say picture yourself if you can come in and you can take, let's say, a listing a week. You can take 5 listings a month. I was able to get 14 lists, actually no, 14, 16 listings last month. Yeah, I took 16 listings last month. And a lot of them were through prospecting. A lot of them were through follow-ups, and a lot of them were referral based. I'm excited that my referral base is not just customers, but actual other realtors. So other realtors that happen to be in the same state, other realtors that happen to be in other states, other realtors that just are not in the space of listing. So there are agents that are heavy in commercial. There are agents that are heavy in working buyers. Like I got agents that I know that say, Jeff, I don't like managing listings. I enjoy working with buyers. I enjoy working with investors. I enjoy wholesaling. I enjoy doing everything but managing a listing, because a listing could be a little bit like a lot of attention, you know? You have a lot of them, you know.
But I like that attention.
Yeah. But from the sellers as well, you know?
But even in a climate like today,
Yeah, slow.
how are you still getting a lot of people interested in selling
It's
their
the conversation. So we have to identify what is their pain and what is their pleasure. So what's the purpose of them selling? So for example, if I was dealing with a seller and they said they wanted to get to the beach, they wanted to be in something like this, I'm using that as an opportunity to paint the picture of what the future looks like, you know? And a lot of times people say, hey, I don't want to sell right now, but it's not really the gratification of right now. It's the gratification of the next 5 years. It's the gratification of the next 5 months. It's the gratification of the next 50 years, for example. You know what I mean? We don't know where the market's going to go. You know, one of the customers I spoke to just this week that wants to put her house on the market, but it's tenant occupied and the tenants do not live the best. I said, maybe it's best that we put the house on the market in December when they move out. But she says, Jeff, where would the market be? And I said, that's one of the risks that we take. Will it be at the high end? Will it be at the low end? But if I can show a lot of people that it's better to sell now than sell later, then I'm going to definitely capitalize on that, because FP&L, which is Florida Power and Light, they need the bill on the first of the month. So we got to make sure that we get the deals right away, right? And also what we have to truly do is we have to also understand seasons that we're in. So is spring a heavy season for us? Is summer a heavy season for us? Is winter? We have to learn our markets, and every market's different. So let's say, for example, you guys are out of Tennessee? St. Louis? Missouri. So let's say, for example, your spring is your high season. You want to make sure you focus on that to collect the most inventory. Right now is one of the best times to stack your listings up because of the market that we're in right now. Okay? So you're stacking the listings up, and a lot of times it's just having consistent conversations, with a lot of us lack. A lot of listing agents, why do listings expire first and foremost? Why do they get canceled? Why do they get off the market? Why do they go temporary off the market? It's because we lack conversation. Okay? We don't know how to have those hard conversations with the sellers. So what we do is we just kind of avoid them. They avoid us, and then the listing expires. We need to speak to them when we need to renew, or we need to speak to them when a showing occurs. But imagine if I can have that consistent conversation with the seller. You guys can hear okay? Yeah. Imagine if I can have that consistent conversation with the sellers where showings are actively happening and we're actively having conversation. So one of the things that I use is what's called our communication guarantee program. What does that mean? Our communication guarantee program basically means that I speak to my sellers either by text, email, phone, FaceTime, Zoom, whatever it is, each and every single week. I guarantee that I'm going to give them feedback every single time we have a showing. I'm going to be talking to you today, Barbara. We're going to be best friends today. So I make sure that I follow up with them after each and every single listing. And what I also do is I hold it accountable to the buyer's agent. So one of the things that I do, either if I show the listing or a colleague of mine shows the listing, or it happens to be on Super Lockbox, is I let them know. I thank them so much for showing the listing. I let them know I'm going to follow up with them. And I truly do follow up with the agent until they give me some sort of feedback. Rather that be by email, rather that be by a show assist feedback, or rather be I call them 30,000 times. Because I want to make sure that I get the best feedback so that when I speak to my customer, especially in the climate that we're in right now, I can say, hey, I called Joe. I wasn't able to reach him, but guess what? I'm going to try another 2-3 times, and then I'm going to finally be able to reach him, and I'm going to get that feedback, and I'm going to get that feedback over to the seller. Rather the house smells, rather the house was too little, rather the house was too nice, rather the house was too big, rather the house just didn't work for the buyer. I'm going to make sure I give that feedback, and those are the feedbacks that I stack up to make sure that I work the seller towards the way I want to work them. Okay? So what we find is that sometimes we're doing price reductions 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times until we finally get a property sold. I have a property of mine that's been on the market for, I'd say, maybe about a little bit over 7 months. We started at 1.4. We're at 1.1 right now. But due to consistent conversation, due to the seller knowing that I'm engaged, due to the follow-ups of what I say I'm going to do and actually do it, we're able to work that price down so that listing's not going to expire. Or at the time that it does come to expiration, as it has twice, I've been able to work with the seller to get an extension because we've been in this together. It's a marriage.
I was gonna ask you, that's a lot of times I run into where the buyer's agent do not do like, do you have
So
something that you do too?
my 3 methods. Before you show the property, you let them know everything that you want to know, that you need to tell them about the property, and let them know you're going to be getting feedback. When they show the house, you want to get feedback as they're there. So one of the things that we personally do is we personally do try to show each and every single one of our listings. Some of our stuff that happen to be investor friendly or not owner occupied, maybe be on a lockbox or a Supra, but we truly do show a lot of our listings because of that. We want to get the feedback. So one of the things that I do is before I leave, I do ask these 3 questions. Question number 1 is I ask them, what do they think about the property?
I'm sorry, I might have said it wrong. I was talking as far as a buyer's agent.
Yep.
Not just,
I'm gonna get there.
okay.
So question number 1 is I'm gonna ask them what is their feedback about the property. I'm gonna ask the buyer and the buyer's agent in front of them.
Okay.
What is their feedback about the property? Okay. Question number 2 is I'm gonna ask them if they were to live in this home, would there be anything different that they'll do to this home? And then question number 3, do I see them submitting an offer?
Right there.
Yes.
In front of the buyer. So you actually
Yes.
go to the.
We personally show all of our listings. Okay. The only time we don't show our listings if they happen to be, like I said earlier, investor friendly, or they just happen to be vacant, then we'll put them on lockbox or Supra. But a lot of our showings we personally do show.
Is that okay to say that or ask those questions in front of their agent?
Yes, it's great. You know why? Because I build dialogue from there. And they'll be like, oh, well, think about it. We're not too sure. So sometimes I do get it's the seller's negotiable. A lot of times people don't believe that the sellers are negotiable, and I let them know, due to the market that we're in right now, it's best that you submit your best offer, and we can always come back with a counter. That builds more dialogue. So that has me the opportunity. So one of our houses, I'll give you maybe 3 examples. So I picked up an expired from an agent that had it on the market for 176 days. I sold it in 3 days. I picked up a listing that was on the market for 156 days. I sold it in like 30 days. I picked up a listing that was on the market for 375 days, and we sold it in a week. How do we do that? Because of the conversations. So not only am I personally showing the property, I just picked up a listing that an agent had on the market for 6 months. I sold it in 1 showing.
So you search the expired listings.
We expireds, for sale by owners, for rent by owners, and absentee owners. That's our go-to.
Contact them.
Yeah, consistently.
You ask them about you kind of get personal and ask them about their last agent, like
Kind of, sort of. We'll get into that. Yeah, we'll get into that. But yeah, I kind of, sort of do, but not like during the phone call. The phone call is just building a rapport, getting the conversation, and locking the appointment. That's really what the phone call is about. So then when I'm at the property, I'll get to you. Now when I'm at the property, see what I told you we needed the presentation? Now when I'm at the property, that's when I'm trying to find out. Because one of the questions I want to know is, I rephrase it. So instead of them saying, what didn't their agent do? One of the things I may say is, what would you have liked the agent to have done? I would have liked the agent to do for open houses. I would like the agent to have hosted brokers opens. I would have liked the agent to have done marketing. I would like the agent to have done a Facebook ad. I would have liked the agent to do X, Y, Z. Or sometimes they say, I don't really know. I'm not in the space of real estate. And now I'm able to explain to them, Mr. Seller, one of the best things that we have is we have a 10-step marketing plan, or we have a 20-step marketing plan, or we have an 80-step marketing plan, or we have a 100-step marketing plan. Whatever your marketing plan is, that's what you present to the seller, because now I'm able to diagnose it. And a lot of times agents don't give a marketing plan. They kind of believe that due to their acclimates, they kind of believe due to their years in business, they kind of believe due to the fact that they're a professional in that space, that the seller's going to want to work with them and the seller needs to work with them. Like I did tell you guys earlier that the sellers do need us, but we kind of need them in the same way that they need us, okay? It's almost like a reciprocity thing, okay? So to answer your question, what we truly do is we truly do talk to them about how can we get them to what their finish line is, okay? And a lot of times listings expire and you'll hear that the seller says that they don't want to sell the property anymore. And it's not that they don't want to sell the property anymore. They just don't have any faith and trust in us to get the job done, okay? You had a puzzle face. What's going on?
I was just, all those things that you do, because when Jackie said that, you call these people, how much time do you spend?
I prospect, my team prospects. We prospect 4 or 5 hours a day. We prospect in the morning and we go on our appointments in the afternoon.
You do a lot of your tours in the afternoon also?
We try to not leave our house before 1 o'clock. And how do we do that? We control our schedule. We don't leave the house before 1.
What's the benefit of not doing AM tours?
Because we're prospecting, we're lead generating, we're getting more appointments. Yeah. The best time to call is when you're able to call. You lead gen? There you go. You have to. That's where the money's at. Lead gen plus follow up done consistently. This is one of my phrases. I teach my coaching students this each and every single day. Lead gen plus follow up done consistently leads money in the bank. Lead gen plus follow up done consistently leads money in the bank. That's my slide too.
I like that.
Is that a formula who does it?
No matter who does it, no matter what business, solar panels, windows, cars, insurance, McDonald's.
Yeah. Lead generate every day.
So what is lead generating to McDonald's is their commercials. If they don't run the ads, if they don't do the commercials, if they're not in the flyer or whatever's out nowadays, they're not lead generating. You're not seeing them, and now you don't forgot about them because Burger King came out, this one came out, Taco Bell done came out, everything done came out. So that's their form of lead generating.
Say it one more time.
Lead generating plus follow up done consistently leads to money in the bank.
So when you say you show all of your
What's on slide
properties,
2?
when you say you show all of your properties, meaning me as a buyer's agent, I make an appointment and you
Mr.
say,
Mr.
we're
Mr. Seller,
meeting you over there.
I'll meet you at 2 o'clock there. So what I try to do is I try to group the appointments also together. One, because that builds some type of energy.
Okay.
And then 2, I'm going to explain the home to you. The reason I want to explain the home to you is because I want to talk to you about the crown molding. I want to talk to you about the recessed lights. I want to talk to you about the floors. I want to talk to you about the kitchen. I want to talk to you about the AC. I want to talk to you about everything about this home that you may not know. Because guess what? Once it's on a lockbox, you're just walking in, oh, this is pretty, and you're walking right out. You're leaving my AC down on 60 degrees. You're leaving all my lights on. You're leaving the windows open. And the seller comes home, and he or she's not happy. So what happens, I take accountability for the house. Yeah. And that's how I'm able to ask those questions. We show all of our listings. Unless...
You got a team of people.
Not really. I get it done, but I'm maximizing my own capacity. So that's where domination comes into space. That's where truth farming comes into place. That's where, not overextending yourself comes into play. Like I don't work with buyers because I can't show them 15 houses because I got to show 15 on my listings. And it's really no difference. You're either going to show them 15 houses or I'm going to show 15 on my listings. Which one am I going to do? I'm going to show 15 buyers, 15 homes for them to say, oh, we decided to just renew our lease. Or I'm going to show 15 on my listings, get this one sold, that one sold, this one sold. And guess what? Even if a buyer brings me a contract and that buyer can't close, it's still my listing. It's going to sell eventually.
So do you think that's...
No, go ahead.
I was saying,
And then we'll grab you right after.
I was saying, do you think that's why you became so successful because you honed in on what you actually...
It's identifying a niche.
Yeah.
We hear that so many times, So I don't do commercial. I refer it out. I refer buyers out. I don't go to certain areas, part of towns. Not that I don't want to, just I just don't want to, I really hone in on what I know. I really try to learn my craft. I'm going to tell y'all my story. So I'm happy this is on here. So my story, 15 years in the business. I'm going into year 16 right now. And I said, I've enjoyed this $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 price mark. But I said, there's so much more in South Florida. There's people that are selling their houses day in and day out at $30 million. There's people that are selling their homes at $10 million. I don't know what your price points are. So I said, how do I do that? I literally was driving one day, and I was driving back home to my house that I own. And I said, I'm going to rent it out. And I put my house on the market that same day, and I moved out that same week. And I moved to a different part of town. A different part of town where the homes are being sold for $50, $30, $20 million every single day. And it's just casual conversation. And I ended up enjoying that orbit, because there was an idea for me to really want to do bigger things and operate in bigger spaces and collaborate with bigger people. And I really just betted on myself, you know? So 15 years in the business, I'm going on my 16th year, 100 plus homes sold each and every single year. I do 100 plus units consistently. If it's not 100, it's probably 70 because of the market that we're in. But anywhere between 70 to 100 deals consistently each and every single year. What's on slide 3? Or slide 4, I guess. Okay. We pretty much spoke about mindset, right? Have confidence, be the authority in your space. Abundance versus scarcity. So operate in a space of abundance. So what do I mean by that? So many times people say that I'm afraid, or it's not going to work out, or I can't do this. You got to truly change your mindset. You got to change your mindset on whatever you want to do. You may want to leave here today. You may want to say, man, I don't want to work with sellers. I want to continue working with my buyers. I want to continue learning the market. I want to continue doing what I'm doing. And it's okay to operate in that space, okay? But each and every single one of us has a idea of what we see our real estate career, okay? We don't operate like Coldwell Banker. We don't operate like Keller Williams. We don't operate like a Century 21. We don't operate like a Compass. They all operate differently because the broker or the owner or the founder had an idea for what they see this business to be like. And that's what we have to think about. We have to think about what is our concept, what is our idea of how we want to operate our business, and just do that. We spoke about consistency and follow through. Okay. And that's really where the money is, y'all. The money, you can go. The money's really in the follow up. So, yes, we may prospect, but me prospecting for a seller 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 times is no different than you calling the buyer to submit their documents, get their credit fixed, come see the properties, sign the contract, turn in their proof of funds. Every time you following up to do that, I'm following up with the seller. So we're doing the same exact thing. And what happens is, how do things fall through the crack is that we don't follow up with the sellers. We speak to them 1 or 2 times. We don't follow up. And then next week we see the house on the market and we're like, oh my gosh, I spoke to Becky, And it's like, yeah, but we were too busy trying to get the buyer from 550 to 620 to qualify for this down payment assistance program. Am I speaking to somebody? Can I get an amen? But really, while you're doing that, because they do it in our market too. We got down payment assistance program. We got first time home buyers programs. We got $300,000 houses. We got it all. Like we got it.
That's a good day in the park for us. We talking 130. 160.
We don't. We may not have any single family homes for that. Our condos today are probably going for mid 200s. 55 plus. Our average price point, they say South Florida's average price point is 6 something. Yeah. And that's, yeah, but guess what? I'm gonna go to California and they're gonna be like 600,000. So it's all relative. You just take the information and utilize it best.
Because it's gonna, if you do those things, it's gonna work, the formula is gonna work anymore. It's the relationship.
Because like Janelle says, people always need somewhere to stay.
Yes.
Whether they renting, buying, whatever, people always have.
COVID showed us that. And some of you guys probably got into the market due to COVID, but COVID showed us that we're going to always need a place to stay. The people that flee from New York, California, Texas, Florida, wherever they flee from, they always needed a home. So that's one of the one jobs that you really can make unlimited amount of money. The money goes past the ceiling, So identifying who your target seller is, motivation, moving up. Okay, so why do people move, okay? I've actually updated this. People move for, I would say, a couple of reasons, but motivation, are they moving up? Are they downsizing? Are they relocating? Are they getting divorced? Are they going to probate? There's so many opportunities out there, but what happens is we don't see the opportunity because we sometimes don't operate in a business mindset, okay? So guess what? Like for me, I'm a professional. I'm going to always be a professional, right? So I'm on the phone with Uncle Joe, and Uncle Joe says he has 2 weeks left of life and he's on a ventilator. Uncle Joe, do you have your documentation in order? At the time that you go see the Lord, is your home in a trust? Is it in an LLC? Is it in a a right of survivorship with your kids? Is your paperwork in order? Am I calling the kids and letting them know that Uncle Joe has 2 weeks, and while he's on a ventilator, his documentation is not in order, but so the house is going to have to go through probate, and you know probate's going to run you anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000. And when we were sitting at Thanksgiving dinner, you had told me that Uncle Joe don't have a life policy, so how do y'all plan on paying for this funeral? And then pay for probate? And you know if the taxes and the lawn and everything's not maintained, the state will take the house away. So let's talk about getting Uncle Joe in order so that we don't have to go to probate. Because what happens is when you become the authority in that space, I was in the car with my uncle just the other day after my aunt purchased the property and we were doing our housewarming. And he says, I want to talk to you about something. It was about him investing and stuff like that. And he's like, man, we got a realtor in the family. I wish we had a doctor in the family. I wish we had an attorney in the family, but the freaking boys don't want to go to college. You know? But guess what? He said, we have a realtor in the family because I operate in the space of a professional. So am I missing out on opportunities? So divorces, are we identifying where those opportunities may be? Are we connecting with divorce attorneys, for example? Are we seeing it within our own friendships, our own families? Are we educating people on that? A lot of times people are going through divorce and they don't know what to do. Okay? I'm literally watching my friends go through a divorce right now and sell the home, and I'm having one conversation with the guy, another conversation with the girl, and it's like, why did you agree to that? and then he's like, man, that stupid attorney of mine. I said, man, I should have been your attorney. That is crazy, you know. But there's opportunities out there. Are people relocating? Am I having those conversations? So you gave me a face. How am I working? I'm asking for the needs and the hearts of my desire. Just like I won't leave here today without asking y'all if y'all know somebody that's looking to move to South Florida. Hello. And are people moving up or downsizing? Okay, so moving up, are they having a baby? Are they just out of college? Did they get a raise? You know, like, are they looking for more space? Like, I'm not saying that I have commission breath, but what I'm having is I'm having professional. Like, I'm being a true professional in the space that I operate. So how do I do that? I audit my cell phone. They say your cell phone, if you have your cell phone, you can make money from anywhere around the world, and we truly can. I asked my coaching students, I said, how many people do you have in your cell phone today? Some people said 5,000, some people said 300, some people said 100, some people said 10,000, some people said, I don't know. And I said, imagine if you took this next 30 days, which is our May challenge right now, make it happen May. Imagine if you took the opportunity to say, man, each and every single day, I'm going to call 2 to 3 people in my phone. This also gives me an opportunity to clean up my database as well and truly speak intentional. And what is intentionality is what I do each and every single January 1st. I go down my list of my past customers. I go down the list of my family. I go down the list of my clients, my friends, and I'm very intentional with them. What's your name? Imani. And I do just like this. Write this down or record it. So, hey, Imani. I'm truly excited for 2025. I know it's going to be a phenomenal year for us. But I just wanted to let you know that my goal is to service 100 people. And if you know anyone, as I know you're going to run across some people this year, do you mind referring me some sellers that are thinking about selling? And Imani's going to say yes. Of course, Jeff, you already know I am. And then I'm going to say, Imani, what's your goals? What are your goals and how can I help you towards your goals? So if Imani's in the space of business or she's in the space of health or she's in the space of whatever she is, I'm going to see how can we collaborate? How can we create opportunities? How can I put her in front of people? You know, I operate by 3 things. Either you serve your way, you earn your way, or you pay your way. I learned this through a seminar. Service, earnings, or paying, okay? So how am I going to do that with Imani? She's going to refer me customers. I'm going to service her by referring her whomever I may need to refer her, okay? I'm going to earn my way because I'm going to go ahead and do good work, like I've earned my way to be here in this room today with you guys. And I'm going to pay due to the time that I don't have. I'm going to go ahead and pay for whatever I need out of life, okay? Where do they hang out, online or offline? We spoke about that already. Next. We kind of spoke about sphere of influence, expireds and FISBO, geographical farming. So what is geographical farming? Geographical farming is basically the area that you design to work in, okay? Rather that be the area you live in, rather that be the area that you grew up in, or rather that be the area that you want to live in. You have to identify one of those 3, and that's the area that you need to learn as well as you know the back of your hand. you know? I got to know the restaurants. I got to know the schools. I got to know who's moving in, who's moving out. I got to know the commissioner. I got to know the city. I literally was working with someone just the other day, and I was able to call the mayor of the city to validate this city, this community, this project, everything that's happening because of the relationships that I built. And I just called him. He didn't answer the first couple of times. I texted him 2, 3 times, and I said, "Hey, I need you to speak to this customer real quick." And he's like, "Put him on the phone." You know, and I said, then I got off the phone and I said, "You were just speaking to the mayor." You know? So geographical farming. So identify that area, and I may do work other areas, but at the end of the day, like, this is my stumping ground. Okay, I'm gonna know Jessica just listed something. I'm gonna know Sam just sold his home. I'm gonna know that Mike is moving into the area. I'm gonna learn the area. If you guys could name some areas right now, shoot them off for me, please. Anyone else? Do y'all know that area as well as you know that area? Do you find opportunities to do transactions in that area? Are you building your name in that area? So how do I build my name in an area? Not only do I do community service projects, but maybe I need to create some mailer opportunities. So if your price point is 100 and something thousand and your people are 500, 600, 700 credit scores, there are sellers in their homes that got bad credit and they can't sell their house because of their credit. So they're stuck in a home, but guess what? There are upsizing people. There are relocation customers, okay? So maybe my call to action is still about that. Do you have a 400 credit score? You know, you need to get to the next level. Okay. So are we doing some type of farming? And now that farming now goes into, is it digital or is it social media based? Okay. Am I running ads through Facebook? Am I running ads through Google? Am I running ads through Instagram? Okay. Am I doing call to actions through social media? Right after I did that event, I lost my Instagram. It's crazy.
Oh, I saw you had a new page. That happened to me too last year. I lost everything.
And we're just going to rebuild it. We're just going to rebuild it.
Hey Jeff, got a question while you're drinking. My area that I know well is the hood. So, and I know it, it's probably not gonna be even 2, 3, thousand, but still, how can I benefit just, you know what I'm saying?
So grandmama done lived in that house for 50 plus years, right? And eventually she goes and sees the Lord, right? So what is the am I creating block parties? Am I creating training sessions? Am I educating them? You know, a lot of times they don't know about reverse mortgages. A lot of times they're getting stuck with this. Y'all have that solar panel issues over here too, where the companies are coming down, they put the solar panels and they're telling them about the fine print. Y'all have that issue here? Yep. So am I educating them on that? A lot of times they're older people and they don't know. And the houses are falling apart or sometimes they need a facelift. And these companies are coming out here and they're targeting them, you know? And what do? You need to educate them. So what am I doing? I'm educating this area on everything real estate related. We're talking about 401k plans. We're talking about retirement plans. We're talking about CDs. Like, I'm creating an opportunity rather than just being live or on Zoom. I'm attending the town hall meetings, you know. I'm becoming the resource of that area.
It's amazing how, look on Zillow and you'll see that someone the signs that are in the yard are good.
They don't look like us. That's our own fault.
How does that happen?
That's our own fault. We're selling homes to the wrong people because we lack education. We lack the opportunity to know that we can purchase this home and we can turn it into an Airbnb. We can purchase this home and we can renovate it. We can purchase this home and keep it, you know. A lot of times we're not educating the kids on how they can purchase the home, you know. How you can get a loan. Hold on one second. How you can get a loan and someone can finance that loan as a co-borrower and be a non-working person because they have Social Security income, they have benefits, they have pensions. I can purchase a home through that. Go ahead.
And then sometimes as agents, we will feel that we have to where we won't go back in and see that money sitting there on the table.
It depends on who you are. It depends on who you are because maybe that's no longer your area. We have to be able to say, hey, I've done that. We have to be able, as individuals, say, I've done that, and what's next for me? You know, everyone operates in their own space, okay? So maybe you're in that space right now or forever, who knows, And that's what your market is. There's certain people that I speak to and they say, Jeff, I don't want to do $1 million sellers. And there's people that I speak to says, Jeff, I don't want to go into $300,000 homes. They smell, you know? So there's different people out there, and that's what makes this world so great. We're individually created in our own space. We operate in our own space. Some people probably hate that I have this Burberry shirt on. Why didn't I put on a Gucci shirt or an LV shirt, you know? But guess what? My closet's loaded with Burberry, and I just enjoy it. She gonna enjoy it too. You know? But in conclusion, see what's happening there and see how you can be a voice there, see how you can dominate in that space, see how you can be a resource, because a lot of times they're selling those homes for pennies on the dollar, and if they knew better, they would do better.
Well, Janelle she's having a class on what to do with Big Mom's houses.
Yep.
There's a lot of Big Mom's houses in the hood, and I'm sure these people that are coming in, taking our people that we grew up houses, like you said, pennies on the dollar.
Because we don't know that we can take out a home renovation loan. We don't know that we can take out a HELOC. We don't know that we can do a 203K loan. We don't know that we can do anything and rehab this home. We don't know that we can partner up with home renovation companies, rehab this home, and sell it for $400,000, $500,000. You know, we don't know that. You know, I was grateful to sell a home just the other day. That was one of those opportunities. It truly was. The house sold for $550,000. The people came in, they bought the home, and 30 days later, it was back on the market for 700 and something thousand, you know. And the lady called me. She called me. She said, Jeff, you see they put that house back on the market already. Look how nice it looks. And I said, I gave you that option, but you chose to not do that. You know, sometimes people just don't want to deal with it. They want to sell it as is condition. Next slide. Become an expert in the areas that you want to become an expert in. So you guys were able to name some areas for me already. And you just got to learn those areas. You got to learn those areas so that when people want to buy homes, they want to sell homes, they want to do anything in that space, they're now able to call you because they know that that's a space and area that you dominate in, you know? Okay? The 5 keys to effectively prospecting is script mastery, consistency, tracking your matrix, lead follow-up, value-driven approach. So script mastery means like, I got to study the script of what I'm going to say when I speak to these people, okay? And it's no different. The same way you once picked up the phone and you learn how to speak to a buyer. You know, I take everything in that space and I just change it, okay? And that's what happens is a lot of companies don't educate us on that. A lot of companies don't focus on that. A lot of companies don't give us the confidence to speak to sellers and work with sellers, you know? So really what you got to do is you have to master the script, okay? I'll be able to give you guys my script that has led me to be successful at the end of this, but create your own script. Create your own script that you're going to use when you speak to Big Mama. Create your own script that you're going to use when you speak to the for sale by owner, you speak to the expired, okay? For your sheep knows your voice, your audience knows your voice, your people know your voice, your area knows your voice. Okay, these areas that you guys named off, are they our areas or are they other areas? Yeah. Okay, so you guys are very mixed over there. That's amazing. Our area is very mixed too. Florida's, we're a melting pot. Florida's definitely a melting pot. And one of the best things is that they don't care what you look like in Florida as long as you get their house sold or, you know, you help them to the finish line. Go ahead. But that's an amazing thing. That means we should be dominating there. That's a crutch. What we're saying right now is a crutch. And we got to release the crutch and we got to say, man, we're going to dominate. I wish I had every single seller down the block that looks like me. I don't need a script. I'm just going to knock on your door and say, what's up? Let's make this happen. Y'all know what time it is. But it's a, hold on, I gotta attack this.
Well, that's what I was going back to say, because Barbara was saying, when we in the hood, we see these people who got the listing that don't look like, never even came to look at the house, that just had somebody put the sign in the yard.
But why do y'all believe that?
It's not a but what happened is they're just forming and they didn't got the business.
Yes, because they created a script.
They did the work.
They created a script. They have a follow-up system that continues to work. And they know that Big Mama needs to sell her house. Eventually, she's going to sell the home, rather take 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. And they created the system to continue to do that. And for us, So one of my coaching students, we had role play the other day, and I said, "Why are you so mean on the phone? Like, it's a role play. Like, what's wrong with you? What's going on here?" Like, she's like, "Jeff, that's just who I am." She said, "If you don't want to sell your house, there's another pond that I can go sit in. I don't need to sit in your pond, you know." And that's our mentality as individuals already. Is that we're quick to say, "All right, if you don't want to work with me, that's fine. I'm gonna work with 10 other people." But it's business. We're sales. We have to remember at the end of the day. I was sitting down with my boy the other day, and he has this title company that sponsors him, and the guy doesn't look like him, but he'll call him right now and say, "Send me $1,000 to go pay for this," and he'll send it to him. He'll say, "I'll say anything to this man," and he'll sit right there and he'll smile and he'll cut the check because those people understand. I don't care what you're saying to me. Money's green at the end of the day. And for us, we personally take everything so personal. We personally, amen. We personally take, where's my robe? We personally take everything so personal. And it's not, we're dealing with somebody's biggest emotional piece of property or piece of investment or piece of
We
anything.
still have to change the people that's selling their house somehow mindset because some of them still just believe. I know
Because of the way we operate. We have to operate. We have to operate in integrity. We have to operate as the authority in the space. So why do we do that? We have a 10 o'clock with them. We show up at 10:15. Girl, I'm on the way. I'm down the street. I'll be right over there. We don't come prepared. We don't come with a presentation. We think that because they look like us, they're gonna want to work with us, okay? Or that they owe it to us because they look like us. And while they're working with Jose, okay, because Jose is gonna come, he's gonna be on time, he's gonna have his notebook, he's gonna educate himself in advance. He's not going to speak the whole time. We like to speak. Oh my gosh, I know Jessica's house down there. I was at the bakery the other day. I was at that restaurant. And it's like, wait a minute, like, what are you telling me? Are you here to sell my house or are you here to tell me a story? Stop talking, close your mouth. And that's what happens. So they look at us and they listen and they laugh. They laugh with us too. And then once they leave, they say, "That sucker, I ain't gonna work with them." And this is our own I gotta come to y'all town so I can feel it a little bit. But that's our own issue. It's our own crutch. We know the answers of why we're not getting the listings, and Jose's getting the listings or whatever his name is or her name is. You know, Rebecca or Senorita, whatever her name is, you know. We know, there you go. We know why. But then we talk about it amongst ourselves. We go to our real estate mixers and we talk about it and we don't say, wait a minute, when are we going to put our foot down? And when are we going to change? When are we going to change? When are we going to start being the professional? Okay? When are we going to start? I go to some homes in the Latins, they don't want to work with their own people. They're like, I don't want to work with Latins, you know, because Latins operate like this, they operate like that, you know? So we all have that same opportunity out there, that same battle that we're battling right there, you know? But
we are mean. I live in a brand new neighborhood, and I've been going around. Hey, how you doing? They like,
yeah.
These guys just like forced.
But eventually,
But you just have to keep going.
yeah.
Like we're not used to people. Some of us just not used to people just.
You being too friendly. Why you so friendly?
Yeah, like.
I taught everybody. I moved into a building that's pretty much almost sold out right now. There's no more vacancies available. And I speak to everyone on the elevator. And sometimes they'll probably be like, what the hell is this guy talking about? I'd be like, you know, oh, that's a nice little bag you got right there. When did you move in? That's always my first pickup line because our building's brand new. And I know I've been there since May and everybody else is new there. I'd be like, oh, when did you move in? You look new. And then they get all excited. Oh, we just moved in a week ago. And I'll be like, yes, let's talk. But we already know the excuse. We gotta say enough is enough. We gotta say, and then sometimes we have to beg for what we want. We really do. So I gotta say, man, I'd be honored if you gave me the opportunity to sell your home because this would really change the lifestyle of my family. My son needs to go to school. This would really help him to go through college. This would really help me to renovate my kitchen. This would really help for me to do the floors of my house. We got to be vulnerable in our own space because they are. The first second we say we're not signing that contract, man, I was supposed to take Jimmy over to the pool. Don't we hear that story? They let you know exactly what they were gonna do. So why aren't we? For the Lord says we shall have our hearts and our desires, but we're not doing the activities that we need to do each and every single day so that we may have them. All right. Value driven approach. So that means whatever your value driven approach is, you got to utilize that. Let's stop holding in on that and utilize it and become those experts in that area. Like we have to leave here today and truly change how we think. How many of us in here? 15, 16, 17? So 20 of us believe that we're mad. 20 of us believe that we don't want to work with our kind. 20 of us believe that we are upset, we are mean, and everything else. Why aren't we changing it? It's probably the 20 of us right in here right now. It's probably the 20 of us here right now in here, you know? Next slide. All right, so how do I win the listings over? One things I love to do is when I'm scheduled to meet with Jessica or Rebecca or Rashonda, whatever her name is, I'm gonna operate in true professionalism. Okay. So one things I love to do is I love to have a pre-listing package. Okay. So what does my pre-listing package look like? If I know I'm meeting with Jessica next Tuesday, if I know that I'm meeting with her on Thursday, if I know that I'm meeting with her just tomorrow, I'm going to send her something. Mrs. Sell, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me. As we get off the phone here today, I'm going to go ahead and send you something. If you could just take a quick moment to review it so that you know who I am and I know who you are by the time that we meet each other, it'll make our meeting a lot more successful, okay? So the pre-listing package, what's included in the pre-listing package is basically a little bit about my company. It's a little bit about myself. It's a little bit about what we're going to do for them. It's a little bit about what their goals are and how I can help them towards their goals, okay? Building trust the first 10 minutes that we're in the appointment. So what does that mean? That means that so a lot of times I tell you guys this, man, a lot of times we want to talk about all of our accolades and we want to let people know what we know and we want to make sure that we dominate because we've done X, Y, and Z. And that's really not what the person cares about. They want to care and know that you can get them to where they need to get to, okay? So how do I understand that? I understand that by asking as many questions as possible. As many questions as possible so that I can get them to the finish line, okay? I'm going to identify before we meet what are the objection handlers. So what are the reasons why they may not want to sell? Or what are the reasons why they're considering a sell? Or what is the reason why they're considering to not work with me? Because they may say, hey, I want to work with Jose. And I'm going to be like, well, before we go ahead and meet, I understand that you want to meet with Jose, but I just have a quick question for you. What would be the reason why you decided to already work with Jose? And I would take those and I would understand that those are objections that I now need to overcome because I still want myself into a way into the home. Okay? Next. Okay? Now positioning the home in its best light, okay? So as professionals, are we operating as professionals? So many times grandmama's house on the market. I see grandmama's house on the market, but guess what? We didn't even tell grandmama to take all those pictures down, fix the bed, take them shoes from the front yard, paint the house, move them old cars from the front, cut the grass, trim the trees, turn the lights on, and we go ahead and we position her home on the market just like that. And it's like, wow, why would I do a disservice to not only her, but also my business? I literally had a house that we put on the market at 6,000 square feet. I walked that house from November all the way until January when we finally put the house on the market. Second realtor, we ended up getting it sold. But guess what? I told the seller every time I came, nope, the house is not ready. 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 Nope, we can't go live. We cannot go live. Okay, because your property is an image of my stance and my operations. Okay? So if your home is not showcase ready, we're not putting it. Sometimes the photographers go out and the house doesn't look the way that it looks, and guess what? We're gonna reshoot. $250 more, that's fine. $500 again, we'll shoot. I don't care. We're gonna reshoot.
She says that all the time, but I don't listen to her. And now since you said it, it I'm like, I just paid $140 because I didn't take the time.
To walk the
I was
house.
so excited and impatient about doing it. I just was like, instead of, because we took it in the snow, I took the pictures when it snowed, so those pictures are there.
And it's no longer snowing now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when people, it's like when Christmas done passed and you still got the candy canes in front of the house and we in April and I'm still looking at Christmas photo and it's like,
And clear the smoke out your house because it stinks in here. I have to do that.
I just told y'all that lady's house, we're not putting it on the market until the tenants move because I said the house, oh shit. I'm not going to go in there and show the house and you're not going to show the house. So what are we going to do? We got to wait till they leave. But guess what? Jose's going to walk in, or let's say Rebecca, and Rebecca's like, what's that smell in here?
That's true. And people have to envision this. I had to do a lady like that who I was selling her house, and then she started coming, it don't smell like smoke. I've been smoking outside. I said, no.
It smells like
People
smoke.
want to buy your home, they envision themselves. Yeah. No one wants to go into a smoky, smelly house.
I'm going to add on to what I just said, but then when the house doesn't sell and the seller's frustrated with us, and we're like, God damn it, I told y'all that house smells and y'all need to clean y'all house up and y'all won't clean your house and that's why we won't get no offers. But guess what? If you would have told them 60 days ago, 30 days ago, 90 days ago, could you have prevented yourself from all of this frustration and this anger and them not wanting to work with you again and us saying that we're quote unquote mean? We're not mean, we're just frustrated.
I think I'm afraid to say that because I wouldn't.
So to move yourself out the way. So how do you move yourself out the way? You bring a professional with you. You bring a colleague with you. You bring the photographer with you. You bring a stager with you. I do that sometimes. Sometimes I say, hey, I walked the home and I'm going to give you some recommendations, but I definitely recommend that our stager comes in because they have an eye for stuff that I don't see. So I'm going to go ahead and have the stager do the consultation. So now they done heard it from me, just like you done heard it from her. And now they done heard it from a second person. They're like, wow, 2 people done told us that. 2 people done told us that the house smells like cigarettes and we need to stop smoking, period. Let me go get your nicotine patch.
Do you pay for your pictures? Do you include that in your list of packages? That's something that they do.
No, my sellers don't pay for anything. They don't pay for anything. And that's one of the one things. So I really operate. How do I get 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 listings? I'm going to operate from a space of abundance. So what does that mean? I'm a true professional. So we may not want to have the conversation, but I get 6, 7, 8% listings. 6, 7, 8% listings. And some listings I get at 1% because we operate through what's called our commission menu. So take note on that. Commission menu. Jeff, what's your commission? Mr. Seller, that's a great question. At the time that we meet, I'm going to go ahead and provide you what's called our commission menu, where it provides you the opportunity to pick the commission that you desire to pay. So, I mentioned that the other day. So what's on there? Seller wants staging, that's an 8%. Seller wants professional photos, that's a 6%. Seller wants an appraisal, that's a 6% commission. Seller wants a home inspection, that's an 8%. Mr. Seller, so which package do you think is best that we move forward with? Looking at your home, it looks well staged already, so we already know that we don't need the 8% package. Do you think the 7 or the 6% package is going to be better to get us to the finish line? So now that the seller identified which package works best for them, now we talk about our new stuff. August 17 changes. Ms. Seller, you understand the changes have took place on August 17. How would you like to break the commission? Do you want to compensate now or do you want to compensate later? Mm-hmm. So what it kind of does, though, Barbara, it kind of gives them the opportunity where they think that they're in control. But I already knew what I was going to do from the time I walked into the house.
So when you say do you want to compensate now or later, are you meaning like, do you want to choose this 6% now, but you might have to pay something?
No, so yeah, so what do they want to do? So a lot of times they say, hey, I've heard the new law, or I don't want to compensate, or the commission's way too high. What is it that they want to do? Okay, so Ms. Seller, we can compensate now where we take the 6% and we cut it in half, or we pay the buyer's agent, or we can go ahead and I'm going to collect my 3% or my 4% or my 5% right now. And at the time that an offer comes in, based on what the offer amount comes in at, we can talk about what we compensate them. Yeah, the buyer's agent. Okay.
Do you have some change? Like
depends on the offer. So Ms. Understand that the commission is not set in stone. It's kind of our opening way so that we can get more people to the home. But understand at the time that an offer comes in, we're always willing to renegotiate our commission because we understand that we're here to build relationships, not to make a lot of money. So if I need to cut my commission later on, I'll definitely be willing to do that. If I have to add to the commission, because Ms. Seller, you may understand that maybe our 6% package may not work for us if we're on the market for the next 30, 60 days, and we may need to up it to a 7% package. It's a dialogue. So that when I go and I have the conversation with them, it's not their first time hearing this and they're not mad or mean or frustrated or surprised too, you know? Or like what we like to do, per our email or our conversation, if we want to hit them with one of those, we can always go back to one of those and then recap. Go ahead. I let the agent know that, so remember, I'm speaking to the agent 3 times. So one of the things that I'm doing is I'm confirming they're showing assist, and then I'm personally texting them. We just tried out a new thing. We send out videos now. Hey, John, I'm so excited to be seeing you this Monday at 3 o'clock to show my property. This home is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. I'm so excited the seller did the roof. They did the brand new floor. The compensation is 2.5%. If you have any questions or you need to change the appointment, let me know.
Oh, you send this to the buyer's agent?
Hold on a second. Hold on. Too many questions at one time. Go ahead. But don't forget. With your seller's agreement, you can add that in the beginning, or you cannot add that. You cannot do what? I'm in a different state, so break it down to me. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay, so in Missouri, we can't have the buyer's agency commission in our contract anymore.
Yes, but you have an agreement with the seller, right? And the seller, you've decided to pay or not pay, correct? And in the seller's agreement, it also states what you're going to pay the buyer's agent. Okay. So it just, okay, so does the seller understand that she's going to pay? Barbara? Hold on. No, we're talking about the seller side. Educate me so I can educate y'all.
So the seller, we charge them a percentage.
Hold on. What do you averagely charge them?
3 to 5%, usually like 3, 4.
Okay, and what do you do with that?
That's ours.
Okay, and then what happens with the other side?
Then that's when, if they want a commission, then they would write in with our.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So what you're going to do in this particular case is the seller willing to compensate though?
Well, we have that conversation at the front.
So then that's what I would say instead. I'll say, while we don't have a set commission rate, just know that my seller is willing to compensate, as she loves professionals and she loves to work with buyers and she definitely wants to get the property sold. Something like that. Because now what happens is, I know that there's 15 houses here that's questionable on commission, but I know that there's one house here that I'm going to get paid. And we know that at the end of the day, regardless of what happens with the MLS and NAR, the realtor is in control if Jimmy sees the house or not, right? Yeah, so we negotiate at the time that an offer comes in. So I literally just did a deal. We were at 1.495 and they wanted 3% and we weren't compensating. So the buyer was able to raise the offer to 1.55 to get his compensation. We raised the price so we can pay the agent. But it's all in the negotiation. It's all in conversation, okay? And that's the same conversation. So if the seller's not compensating, let's role play this. How are we gonna do more transactions? I've done 42 already this season, okay? So what do we do? So if the seller's not compensating, I'm gonna get on the phone with them. I'm gonna say, hey, Joseph, my seller really needs to sell. She really needs to get to Tampa, California as quickly as possible. She's not compensating. Is the buyer willing to compensate you? He's gonna say, no, they're tight on funds. No, they're not tight on funds. So let's figure this out before we go ahead and move forward with the showing. At least we know what we're both walking into. So now the buyer's agent knows that the seller may be paying 1%, maybe paying 2%, maybe paying 3%. And now what I'm doing, I'm hanging up the phone, I'm calling the seller. I'm gonna say, hey, Joe got a qualified buyer, 660 credit, 700 credit score, $80,000 in the bank. They want to be in this area, but we got a little problem. When I spoke to you about 30 days ago or 15 days ago or 5 days ago, you said you didn't want to compensate. And they're saying they can probably get the buyer to buy the house if you probably give 1%, 2%, 3%. What do you think? So now I've educated the seller, I've educated the buyer, the people are walking in, And then one things that I'm doing though is now that I've already had that conversation, when I had the second conversation with him, I'm able to elaborate on that. Okay, so remember when we spoke the other day, Joe? I said myself I was going to give you 2%. So if you can work your buyer, you know what I mean? We have to have the dialogue. You know, sometimes we got to get away from the text messages and we got to pick up the phone. I did a deal the other day, just yesterday actually. And I'm like, bro, you never answer the phone. Like the guy just keeps texting me and I keep calling. I'm like trying to do this like right now. Like we trying to get this done now, you know? Not tomorrow, not later. And he finally called me back and we were able to execute the contract right then and there. Okay? But you gotta like this can't break you. This new change can't break you. We gotta figure out how are we gonna continue to make transactions happen each and every single day, regardless of what happens. But a lot of you guys are new to the industry, but guess what? Once upon a time there was not a Zillow. So you know what that means? There wasn't a Redfin, there wasn't a Trulia, there wasn't a homes.com, there wasn't an apartments.com. There wasn't anything else that's out there, a home snaps or anything else. There wasn't. We didn't have that. I remember when Zillow came out. What did we do? We figured it out. The buyers didn't have so much access to see properties. Like they were seeing stuff that was in the MLS. And then Zillow came out, and then it got better, and then it got better, and then Homes.com came out, and then Home Snaps came out, and then Redfin came out, and then this came out, and that came out. And what happened? We just continued to figure it out. When Zillow first came out, how many been in business? Beautiful. Remember when Zillow first came out and the information just wasn't accurate? Zillow came out at first, and the buyer would send you a home, and you'll be like, that home sold in 2014. That home sold in 2008. You remember that? Yes. And then it had Zestimates. It was called Zestimates then. You know? And then so you were showing a house to a buyer that the seller was asking 500, and they're saying, well, Zillow says it's worth 300. And we're like, that's not accurate. You know? But guess what? We figured it out. So we got to figure it out. That's called the script. We got to understand the script of how we're going to operate our business. And that's why dialogue and conversation is very important. I bet you moving forward, you'll be able to sell more of your listings now, having that conversation in advance. Because what's going to happen is they know this is not compensating, that's not compensating, that's not compensating. Now they're telling their buyers. Because the buyer now has to come to the table with the 3% or the 4% or the 2%, whatever they're charging. And then what is the buyer saying? Show me homes that they're only compensating on. Right? Or they're saying, hey, I'll only pay you 1%, I'll only pay you 2%, you know? Okay. I cut someone off.
No, I was just saying the video, you being a listing agent, and when you send them a quick video, and hey, you can't put that.
We just tried it the first time for today.
But I like that, because up front, you let them know we are offering compensation, even though, you know, but on the other end, with this new BCR, we actually can get paid more.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like I like it.
I charge, so I do work with a couple of buyers, happen to be my friends and family, and I charge them. So let's say, for example, they're paying 2.5 on one side, and I want my full 3%, I'm getting it. Or I want my 1%, I'm getting it. Like, for example, we sent an Alta back. I don't know what you guys call it over here. We sent the closing statement back the other day because we were set to close at 10 o'clock, but the closing statement was wrong, and I had finally saw it, and I sent to the title company. I said, this is the first time that I'm seeing this, but the commission's wrong. And we didn't close. We closed like after 11 o'clock because they needed to fix the Alta. And I said, here's the buyer's brokerage agreement. Okay. Signed, executed, sealed. And there you go. All right. So objections. Handling my home is worth more. Objections. CMA versus precise value. So what does this mean? That means that we have to know the market, but we have to know the market in true value. Okay. How do we know the market in true value, ladies? Is that we have to study the trends. Some areas are probably doing better than other areas, okay? So when I study the trends, I have to know that, Mrs. Salah, I don't know if you know, but homes in this area are taking 30 to 45 days to sell. Homes in this area are selling every 15 days. Homes in this area are selling every 72 days, okay? We have to have the information before they have the information because everything's on either ChatGPT now, which is new. I live on ChatGPT. But guess what? Who else is on ChatGPT? Sellers, buyers, everyone, you know? So positioning the home in the right market, in the right light is something that's really going to help you, you know? Like one of my sellers, we have a seller right now that her kids lives in the house, and every time I go to show the house, the bed isn't made. So they did it once. I told her over the phone. And then the second time, I sent her a picture and I said, the bed's not made here, the bed's not made there. I can't show the house is not ready. Okay? And then the third time, I made the appointment and I said, are the beds ready? She's like, I don't know. I said, we're not showing the property until the bed's ready. So then I called her right before. I said, hey, we're on the way there. Are the beds ready? All right, number 11.
Did you show the problem?
Yeah, they ended up fixing the beds. The kids fixed the beds. Okay? So understanding that pricing in today's market is an opportunity. So more days on market. Now, am I talking to my sellers about sellers concessions? Am I talking to them about compensations? Am I talking to them about gift bags? Am I partnering up with the lender to give lenders credits and stuff like that? Am I talking about the 2-1 buy down, the 1 buy down, the 3-2-1 buy down? Okay. Am I having those type of conversations with the seller? Because this is the market that we're in right now. Mr. Seller, what about if we went ahead and did this? We went ahead and we did a 2-1 buy down, which basically means that you're gifting the buyer maybe $11,000, $12,000, or $5,000, or $4,000, whatever that number is, towards closing costs, where they're now able to buy the rate down. And imagine if we can advertise that. Do you believe that it'll bring more traffic to your home? Because Jessica right across the street is on the market for 6% as a rate, or 7% or 5%, whatever the rate is, and we're now offering a 4% rate. Okay? Having those conversations in advance. Okay? Next slide. But really just identifying what works with your market. Okay? Commission conversation. I think we beat that up enough already, right? Any other questions about commission? Awesome. So commission menu is definitely the way to go. All right. So now, are you marketing your listings? How are you marketing your listings to truly get them sold? Okay. So traditional ways is obviously the MLS. It's obviously the 950 website that we syndicate to. So am I doing anything extra? Okay. Like, so these are a couple of ideas that I've done that have been very successful for me. Is Mother's Day is about to come. So we're doing a Mother's Day open house on one of our listings. And what we're going to do is we're going to raffle off to the people that attend a gift card towards a local restaurant that's in the area. What did I do for Easter? I did Easter egg hunts for the kids, and for the adults, I put money in there. I had $50 in there, I had $25 in there, I had $1 in there, and I used that to tell the community as we door knocked, as we sent out advertisements that we had other realtors attend the open house as well, and we sold that house through that open house. Okay. I know, yeah. We did Super Bowl. We did a Super Bowl party. Okay. So that was one of the properties that I told you I sold that house in I sold that house in that weekend actually. First realtor had that house on the market for 175 days. We happened to get the listing like the weekend of, actually the day before, actually the week of Super Bowl, we got the listing. So we decided to do a Super Bowl party. We asked everyone to come in their jerseys, rather it be the Eagles or whoever the Eagles were playing at that time. People came in their jerseys. We invited the whole neighborhood. We canvassed the whole area. There was about 1,008 homes there. We made sure that everyone was aware of the Super Bowl type of event that we did. We had Super Bowl theme everywhere. We had people bringing the flyers that they had gotten. And it was like 50-something people that attended it. He recorded that session. We had about 50-something people there, and we got multiple offers for that event. Okay? So you got to think outside the box and pivot yourself, as other people are doing their traditional open houses, their 5 signs. We doing like parties, like we got like valet, we got like food, we got like photographers, like we're like, this is up like one of the Asian ladies that came, not that matters if she's Asian or not, but she ended up submitting an offer. We didn't accept her offer because it was too late. But she was like, this is a party. And I'm like, yeah, party. And guess what? I got 2 listings out of that same community as well, because homeowners came.
Exactly. That's
Yeah. The homeowners came in, and guess what? They decided to list. So we have one that we've already placed on the market, and we have one that we're putting on the market. But guess what? People want to have a good time, and they want to know that you're going to stand out differently than the average person doing their same old regular, boring, old open houses with their 5 signs up front and their potato chips and their water bottles. And you may be in a position where you can only do that, but that's where collaboration comes into place. So am I collaborating with my title company? Am I collaborating with my lender? Am I collaborating with my photographer? Am I collaborating with my home inspector, my roofer, my plumber, my electrician?
To do what? To sponsor
Yes.
underwrite or something like that?
Yes. 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 Hey, money. I need money. Lots of it.
Oh, yeah, because I guess everybody's there at the open house.
You give them an opportunity to speak. You give them the database of everyone that's registered. You give them an opportunity to meet everyone, and you guarantee some business. Okay? Am I doing digital marketing? So am I running ads? Am I doing videos? Am I doing some type of content? Do I have a content promotional marketing plan that I'm going to now show my seller? Mr. Mrs. I don't know if you know, but the average buyer is 35 years of age, which is a single woman. And women are typically on TikTok and Instagram. And is your house Instagram, TikTok, Facebook ready? You know? And we're going to advertise your home on there. Okay? So what's your strategy to move the property? Okay? Or are we doing the same old stuff? The same old 25 photos, no video, no drone, no lifestyle. Like I send a photography company back. If I don't see the pool, I don't see the clubhouse, I don't see the sign, I don't see the amenities, I don't see them here. Can you guys come back tomorrow and take the photos? Because I can't list the house until we have the amenities. The people are buying the area. They're buying the lifestyle. And then are we using professional photos? We do professional photos even on our rentals. We do professional photos on everything. 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 Okay? So be resourceful when it comes to creating your events. I do some amazing brokers opens. I do brokers opens on our higher end stuff, and those are parties as well. And how are they parties? We have valet. Like people are, wow, you got valet? Everybody wants to use valet now. Like all my friends are asking, can you send me the valet company? You know, like 3, 4 people have asked me already. They got valet when they come in. They got red carpet as they're walking in. They got professional photography, videos. They got a food area. We got caterers, servers. We got maybe musicians that are playing. Okay, like we're like making it like it's a. I don't want you to leave. I want you to take all the content, put it on your page. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't work. A lot of times it works. I show the property through a broker's open. So depending on the like I'm gonna do everything to possibly sell a house. So a broker's open is when we're inviting real estate professionals, brokers to attend the open house, but it's specifically for agents, but also anyone in the space of real estate. So the title company, the mortgage person, the lender, we're pretty. But what I really do is the one thing about me though is a little trick is that you invite everyone because you want the buyers in there and you want the sellers in there because you want them to see what you do and how you get stuff. And I even invite people. So like if I'm working with someone, I'll invite them. Like if I'm working with a for sale by owner and expired, I'll say, hey, Jessica, I have a broker's open and I just want you to see how I operate, how I do things. And I want an opportunity to so you can see how I go to work. And I invite them. But it's really an experience where you invite agents to come and sometimes they say, hey, the agent may not have a buyer for you, but what it does is you now are able to tap into their database because they're going to advertise it. They're going to put it on their social media. They're going to even have to stop marketing your home to go back into this agreement. You got to get a hold of your son, got to go get a hold of grandmama, got to get a hold of your husband to talk about lowering the price. Let's go ahead and let's sign the price reduction now. And one of the best things that I can do is in 15 days, I can call all the realtors, all the buyers, all the people that saw the house, and I can let them know about the new price.
How often do you revisit for a price reduction, or does it depend?
Remember, I'm speaking to them every single week. And every single week, if I could slide that in there, well, you know, I had told you that we was priced a little bit too high. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I wish I had my phone. I actually do have my phone. So I have a seller right now. We have his house on the market for $585. And I was always against that price. So April 17th, I texted him about the showings. April 23rd, I said, hello, as of today, Greg, we've only had, sorry about the name. As of today, we've only had 3 showings on the home. One person said that they would get back to me. Another person said that they didn't want to proceed. And the third person never showed the home. They actually canceled the listing. April 25th, hey, Greg, as of right now, we've only had 4 showings on the home. And we're scheduled to do an open house Tuesday of this week. Hey, Greg, wanted to let you know we had another showing on the property. Do you have some time to speak? Wednesday, hey, Greg, just wanted to follow back up with you. When is a good time for us to speak? We're getting there.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Greg doesn't live here. Hey, Greg, wanted to go.
I'm sorry, the glass, be mindful.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Greg, just wanted to get back to you. I still believe that 550, 560 is a great price for us to be at. So we're at 580 now. He's like, what do you think about 570? Greg, that's a $10,000 move. Do you really believe that's moving the needle? What would I net if we lowered the price? Okay, go ahead and lower the price to 560. And we got a price reduction.
Based off of the net.
Yeah. But and my persistency and me not agreeing to go to 570 because honestly, y'all, if someone would offer 570 versus 580, y'all know they would offer it. What are we talking about? $50 more on a mortgage?
So, when the price.
From day one, I told them that we were way too high.
When you signed the price, when you signed the price reduction in the beginning, did you set the price reduction price at the time?
So let's say, for example, for example, I took a 1.3 the other day, and I had her sign a 1.1 at the same time. So in 30 days from the day we signed the 1.3, if the property doesn't sell or we don't get any offers, I already have the authorization to lower it to 1.1. You had a question for me in the white?
Oh, I didn't.
You did not? Okay. All right, next. CRM and automation. So automations is basically, are we setting them up on newsletters of what's happening? So not only am I giving them the information, they're also seeing it through reports. So where am I pulling my reports from? Am I pulling my reports from RPR? Am I pulling them from Real Trends? Am I pulling them from the MLS? Am I subscribed to some type of system that shows them what's happening with their home? Okay. So me speaking to them, in addition to that, they're getting the information that they need. Okay. Delegating tasks as far as like, so